Hi everyone, and welcome to DocuSign and document management training. We're extremely excited to get this system rolled out to you all, and we know it's going to be so beneficial for both you, your residents, and your customers. So let's get started. We're going to talk on several different things today. We're going to talk about what is DocuSign and what's document management, and is there really a difference? We're going to go through the benefits of utilizing DocuSign and document management. We're going to talk about the usability. So how does this benefit us? How does the process really work from point A to point B? We're going to go through a brief snapshot of the workflow process, and in a later training, I'm going to go through that with you all in detail. We're going to talk about overcoming resident objections. So with any type of electronic or uncomfortable or foreign type of signing a legal document, we may get some pushback or some concerns from our residents. So we'll talk through how we can explain the benefits to them. We're going to talk through some frequently asked questions. So these have come up from a lot of different team members throughout the process of developing this training, and it's going to be great to share with the rest of you. We're going to go through some best practices to round out today's training, and then we're going to talk through some resources and support and feedback and where you can provide that. So really, what is DocuSign and what is document management? So as it says here, DocuSign and document management is a system that will guide your customers through their lease agreement sign-in experience by placing sign here tags and fields that show precisely where to sign, initial, and add information. This will allow our residents to sign their move-in, move-out paperwork, and renewal paperwork from the comfort of their own home. Or if they're out of the state or out of the country, they can sign remotely if they have the correct app on their phone. How great is that? So let's go through some additional benefits. It enhances our customer service. We know that within Carmel, our foundation is to provide exceptional customer service. And this is another great opportunity for us to do so. By allowing our customers a different avenue of signing their lease agreements, we're able to save them time, energy, and a trip to the office. It makes the lease signing process quick and painless. What more is there to say? There's less stress on move-in day. We all know, either by moving ourselves or from walking our residents through move-ins, that it can be a really stressful day. We've got movers waiting, sometimes family members, people are on time crunches, and the last thing that they want to do is sit with us for 45 minutes while we sign their lease agreement. And let's be real, are they really paying attention as we're going through that lease agreement while their friends are waiting ultimately for the pizza? Probably not. It's time effective. This is something that our residents and customers can do from the comfort of their own home. So if they have a question, they can pick up the phone and call us or shoot us an email, but we're on their time by sending them an electronic form. Think green, be green. This is a Carmel motto. So with that in mind, how great is it to be able to provide a paperless process with our residents and customers? We send all the documents virtually so that we can ensure that we're saving on some of the paper we use in our communities. Your lease templates and packets will be backed up in one general area. So there can be some confusion, especially when we have new team members, of what's the right lease packet, where is it harbored, are we using the right lease packet? And with all this information within the system, we're ensured that we're using the right documents every time. You and your residents can sign at any time from anywhere. In a little bit, I'm going to talk about the app, DocuSign Inc., that our residents can utilize so they can sign from a telephone or a mobile device if they need to. These documents merge with the majority of information you put into MRI. With that being said, as long as from the very beginning we're entering all the information we need for our residents accurately, by the time we get ready to set up the lease, it'll be available to us immediately. Only little things that may not integrate into DocuSign will we need to actually manually type in. So it's going to save us a lot of time as well. So how does it work? let's go through a brief process. When you're in document management, which is the system harbored in our Carmel Partners intranet, you're able to set up and manage your lease documents from start to finish. Any team member will have access to do so. So as it shows here, you'll be able to send, sign, and manage your documents all in one place. So imagine the possibilities. All forms that need to be sent to your residents, whether that's a move-in, move-out packet, maybe it's a renewal packet, are already located in document management. It's just a matter of selecting the packet that you want to set up whenever it's time. There are pre-made email templates and subject lines that will be within document management to make your lives easier. So when using this type of an e-signature system, there's a lot of communication that needs to take place for it to go smoothly. So you will be able to see when it's time for you to sign, when your residents are signing, it'll show up on that home page as we talked about, and they will get an email that it's ready for them to sign. So that communication is happening automatically. You'll be able to also track what stage of the lease is in by looking at that home page. So as I just stated, you can see every packet that you've put together or a team member has put together to see what stage of signing it's in. Maybe it's gone to the primary resident and now it's with the co-resident and we're waiting on a signature for them. This is a great opportunity if we notice that somebody has had it for a while to give them a call and see if they have any questions about what they're signing. So here's an example of the workflow process and how it works behind the scenes. So as you can see, I'm at the very top of this whole setup, meaning I am the owner of this lease packet. So I put in place who is going to sign it and when they'll be signing it. So it starts with me just because I send it out. Then it's going to Judy and Jamie Benson at the same time. You can set up your workflow this way, or you can send it to Judy first and then Jamie. It's really up to you if you'd rather it go to roommates or co-signers separate or together. It then comes back to me as the leasing associate so that I can sign the appropriate documents. Once I've signed, it's going to go to the manager, which in this case is William Tester on our screen here. So once that's done, the signing has been completed. How easy! This is just an example of the home screen within Carmel Plus or CAP if you're at a student housing community. So this shows all the packets that have gone out under Packets Out for Signature, and my packets show the ones that I myself have put together and sent out for signature. There it is, the That Was Easy button. I wish I had one right here with me. But truly, this whole system is designed to make your lives and your resident lives much easier. So now that we've talked about the system and generally speaking how it will work, let's go through what to do if we have resident objections and talk about some frequently asked questions. So in presenting DocuSign and document management to our residents, we should proactively be stating that it's the only option. Just by stating, we'll be sending your lease to you through email so that you can electronically sign it and send it back to us. This makes the process quick and easy for you. Again, it's just explaining the benefits to them of how simple this process will be rather than having them come back and forth to the office. If our residents still say that they want to sign a paper version, we're more than happy to accommodate that. However, we should still try to give them some benefits to signing electronically. It is our goal to make your lease signing process as quick and easy as possible. By completing this digitally, you're able to sign from anywhere at any time. If you do choose to sign a paper version, we're happy to do that with you. We will need to set an appointment as our lease signing process in the office takes about 45 minutes. As we'll see in the next slides with the frequently asked questions, we can also state here that if they're not in the office with us, we would need notarized signatures, and that can be really time consuming. So let's go through some frequently asked questions that have come up along the way. So what is document management versus DocuSign? I bet you've been wondering throughout this training, is there a difference or is it the same thing? So it's two different systems that integrate together to make this process work smoothly. Document management will be the system in our Carmel intranet where you'll go to set up the lease and get the paperwork ready to be sent out for signature. DocuSign is a third-party system that we'll utilize to sign and harbor those documents. What if a resident states they didn't sign their lease agreement? So this may happen along the course of time where somebody tells us, I didn't sign that lease, or it never came to me, that can't be my signature. What we have available to us with using our third-party system DocuSign is called a certificate. That certificate will show which computer even that person signed that lease from, and it's our proof that that signature is truly theirs. What should we say if a resident doesn't want to sign through document management? So we've covered this in the previous slides. So again, just be explaining the benefits of document management and DocuSign, that it's going to be a quicker, smoother process for them, and it eliminates them having to make trips to the office with us. Will there be a time when our residents can't view their document? That's a great question because we know our residents have the right to and often want a copy of what they've signed. At the end of their lease signing process, there will be a message sent from DocuSign that asks our residents if they would like to set up a DocuSign account so that they have access to their documents at any time, have it emailed to them, or print a copy. A lot of times our residents are going so quickly, and even us when we're doing anything online, so remind them that that step will be prompted to them so that they pick the option that best works for them. If they don't and they miss that step, we're always able to retrieve those documents and provide them a copy at any time. If a resident doesn't require an addendum, can we remove it? You're going to see in a later training how this whole setup process works. But when you choose the appropriate packet to set up, you'll be asked if you want to include or exclude any of the documents. So if there is an addendum that doesn't need to be sent to this particular resident, you'll be able to exclude it. Are there mobile apps for DocuSign? There are. It's called DocuSign Inc. And that app allows our residents to download that to an Android, iPhone, or Windows device so that they can sign their lease documents from a mobile. If the lease preparer has to be out of the office unexpectedly, are we able to switch the team member that signs the lease? Well, if the preparer of that lease packet originally sets it up for it to come back to them, it will be set up that way, but there is a way to change that. Please just contact your project management and performance team members so that we can walk you through that. If you happen to know a team member is going to be going on vacation at any given time, that person can still set up the lease, but choose somebody else to be the signer on their behalf. What if there's a mistake and we need to have them sign a corrected lease? That's more than okay. We're bound to make mistakes, especially when it comes to this detailed paperwork. There will be an option, as long as the packet is in process, to void the packet and send a new one. And there will be communication needed to be sent to your residents. If the lease has been completed, we aren't able to void it at that moment, but we can send them a new lease document for them to sign the corrected one. Let's go through some document management best practices now that we've covered all that information. Explain the electronic consent form to your resident or customer. This will be one of the first documents that they'll be presented when signing their lease electronically. It's letting them know that they're entering a legally binding contract with us electronically. Explain the consumer disclosure. This will cover the information in the electronic consent form as well as additional information on their rights when signing a lease electronically with us. Encourage your residents to read their lease agreement thoroughly. Without having them in front of us, we're not able to go through the lease document with them in detail like we're used to. So really encourage them to read the lease as much as they can and let us know if they have any questions. Always proactively encourage using DocuSign. We've talked about this a lot, but explain the benefits to your residents of using this system. Let your residents know that they will have the option to email their lease to themselves, or we are happy to provide it to them in the case that they didn't email it to themselves or set up an account in time. They only have 120 days to set up their own DocuSign account. Always print the lease summary and the DocuSign certificate to put in your files. So those two pieces of information will be extremely important to go in the lease file in your offices. The lease summary is going to be a presented paper that really highlights key items from the contract. It's going to talk about things like when rent is due, what our correct notice to vacate time frame is, and that we ask our residents, their guests, and occupants to abide by our community policies. So it's a one-page form that they can put on a fridge if they need to with some general reminders. Create a DocuSign folder in your email or even on your desktop to keep track of the email communication that you receive for your residents. So there are bound to be questions. So if you talk about anything or discuss about anything through email through this process, make sure you harbor that in a safe place. Well, thank you all so much for joining me throughout today's training. We really do value your feedback. So if you have any concerns or feedback while utilizing the system, please contact your project management and performance team member. If you have any technical difficulties, you're more than welcome to contact our friendly support systems team. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much for joining me. In looking at our homepage for document management, we have a top toolbar of sorts that shows us how many packets we have open, how many are waiting on Carmel, and how many have been recently completed. As you can all see, these are all hyperlinked. So if we want to take a more in-depth look at which packets these are, we can click on any one of these. If we look right down here, we can see the one that's open, which is the packet out for signature for a renewal. The waiting on Carmel indicates that we need to sign the packet. So the residents have, it's waiting on us to sign. So if we're looking to see if it's a team member that's maybe on their 2 days off, we can drill into this hyperlink here to see which packet it is to make sure it's not one that we're being waited on for. And then there's a recently completed. So that will show any packet that's been completed. It'll also show if there's a packet that's been declined or voided, and we'll talk about what both of those items would mean here in a little bit. Right below is the packets out for signature. These are going to be any packet out for the whole community that need a signature at any given point. The My Packets right below is going to be any packet in which you are a signer or a packet that you yourself have set up. So that helps us keep track of what we need to sign or what's waiting on our signature. Or if I'm the person that set up this packet, I can see what stage or step we're in as far as the signing goes. You will also see different icons on your home screen associated to each packet. So if we take a look at each of them, we can actually click on them to get more information about the packet itself. So the first one is the green person, and that one indicates to view signers. So if we go ahead and click on this, we can see there are 4 signers associated with this particular packet. We have 2 residents, there's Julie and Captain Von Trapp. We have a leasing associate in this example and an authorized manager. Within some of our regions, we will not have a leasing associate line, so please keep that in mind when setting up your packets. If only an authorized manager shows up as a signer for Carmel, that's exactly how we indicated those packets to be set up. For those of you that will have a leasing associate, that will automatically be indicated also. The orange star in the middle indicates our certificate of completion icon. So what that is an approved document that shows every single party has signed. It shows the signature that they chose. It harbors an ID number associated with their signature, which is how we can confirm that our residents and us did sign that particular lease document. So I'm going to go ahead and open this so you can all see what a certificate of completion looks like. So this one's not going to have completed signatures yet. It will as we get into the signing process. So I'm going to show this to you at the end so you can see what the signatures and the approval numbers look like. But as we can see right now, Captain Von Trapp, Julie Andrews, Jen Smith, and myself are all set up as signers. We also see timestamps involved, so we can really truly see when it was signed, where it was signed from, because we'll also have IP addresses, so you can see an example of that at the top here. So we even have indication of which computer it was filled out on. So I will get back into this once we've signed all the documents so you can see what a completed certificate looks like. The last icon is the little blue document, and that's where we can see and view the documents that our residents are getting ready to sign or have signed. So if I click on this icon, it will pull us into the lease packet we put together. Once it's completed, we'll see all the signatures indicated here. Until then, it'll be a blank copy. But if we want to just double check that we didn't miss anything at any given point, we can scroll through that. But as you'll see as we walk through the steps of setting up a packet, there's a limited possibility for error with the packet because we already indicate what should go in each of them. The last thing I want to show on our homepage here is the document dashboard. The dashboard shows every packet that we've either put together, completed, viewed. It shows every packet that's been put together in our document management system. Within this screen, we're going to see an additional icon, which is download documents. That's a way we can attach them to an email and send those to a resident if they need a copy. There's going to be a lot of different ways to get our residents a copy of their documents that we'll talk about along the way, but this is just one of them. As you can also see at the top of the screen here, you can sort and find your packets by choosing and selecting, is it a move-in, is it a renewal that I'm looking for? When we do this drop down, as we move along with document management, we're going to have even more options for packets, so we can choose by packet type. We can also select by what status it's in. So is it completed? Was it voided? Is it not complete yet? And then we can indicate our start and end dates for the time range we want to find the packets for. So let's go back to our home page. So now that we've discussed what's on the home page, what's available to you here at a glance, let's actually get into the process of setting up a packet. What we're able to do within Carmel Plus is search for our residents. Once you type in 4 letters, the search will begin working. So if I go ahead and search for Julie Andrews, I type in my 4 and it pulls up anybody associated with those 4. The more detailed you are within this search item here, the easier it will be to find your resident. So I found Julie. I'm going to go ahead and click on her name. And here we are at Julie's profile home screen. So if I want to set up a new move-in packet, and typically you're not going to see any packets set up unless you're getting ready to do a renewal packet. But if I'm getting ready to set up a move-in packet for Julie, I'm going to go ahead and hit New Packet over here. Once we're in the next screen, this is where we can select which packet we want to put together for a given resident or prospective resident. In this case, we have a move-in and a renewal option. So for this specific example, I'm going to use the move-in, and then momentarily we'll also do a renewal packet. The processes are very, very similar, but we'll go through each so you're confident with both scenarios. As you're getting ready to create a packet, the first step that we should really take a look at is to ensure that everything is accurate within MRI. We need to be checking the spelling of names, email addresses, phone numbers to confirm that all that information is correct. We can see some of that information at the top of the page here for Julie Andrews. If this is not accurate, we would need to go into MRI, update the information and save it, and then come back into the document management screen to continue. So that's step 1. Please make sure that you're double checking everything's accurate in MRI. The reason we do that is because the document management screen is going to pull all the information that you've entered into MRI and fill out the appropriate fields on the documents. So now that I've selected my move-in packet, that's the one I want to put together right now, the documents that go within that packet will show up at the bottom of my screen here. For the most part, all of your documents should have included checked for every single addendum, lease, and additional form. In the event you're at a community where if somebody doesn't have parking, we don't have them sign an addendum, and you don't need that to be within the packet, to exclude that one addendum, you can just click the box. Now that it's not checked, that addendum won't be in my packet. For this purpose, I am going to leave every document checked. And the next step that I'm going to do is go ahead and go to the next page. I always say this is kind of like end scene when you see that processing, because it's almost like a curtain goes down. So now we're in the page where we're going to choose who the signer should be and how those will be routed. That's why it's extremely important that these email addresses are confirmed with your residents and correct in MRI. Again, if you get to this screen and you see something's not accurate, it should be updated in MRI, not right here. So now that I have Julie Andrews and Captain Von Trapp associated, in my example, I'm going to add a leasing associate. Again, please keep in mind that if you're in a region where this does not apply, you would have just an authorized manager line. So maybe at this point, because of the names I'm using, you have a Sound of Music song stuck in your head while I'm entering these names. So what you'll notice is everybody's name will be entered within document management. So in this case, I can start typing in my name. My line item will pull up and I'm able to click on that. The curtain comes down and then it loads my information. The other thing I want y'all to notice on this page is the order. So we have Julie Andrews and Captain Von Trapp each with an order 1, Jen Smith 2, and myself as the authorized manager with a 3. That indicates how the order of the documents will be sent. So for this particular case, the lease is going to go to Julie Andrews and Captain Von Trapp first. They will get it to their own individual emails at the same time and be prompted to sign their document. Once they've signed, then an email will be sent to our leasing associate, Jen. Once Jen has signed, it will go to myself. So that's kind of the chain of how that's set up. You can change this order, so you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, for instance. The reason we decided to choose 1s for the residents and the signers that will be living at the community or the guarantors is that we feel it will be easier and quicker to get the documents back than having it go from one to the other and having to wait for each of those steps. So now that I've selected my signers, I'm going to scroll down so that you all can see the bottom of this page. It says Customize Email. What we've done is we've set up customized email and subject lines so that when the emails go to your residents, they'll get prompted with a standardized message. That's not to say you can't customize and put your own personalized item in there, but there will be a standard email set up for each packet. So now that I feel that everything is okay on this page, if we change anything, or in my case, since I added these individuals in, it's going to give a little validation complete. Click the next button to proceed direction. And the curtain is down. So what's happening right here, just to give you all an idea, because it is normal for that to happen, because we're using document management along with our third-party system DocuSign, those moments are when the two systems are talking to each other. So if you see that come down, it's perfectly normal. And just give it a moment. Sometimes it'll take longer than others depending on the information we're giving to the system. As a reminder from the previous video about the difference between Document Manager and DocuSign, DocuSign is the third-party company that we're utilizing that allows us to have electronic signatures. It's a legality purpose with using DocuSign and a validity purpose. Doc management is what we're looking at. That's where you all will create your packets. That's where you're able to look at what process they're in and what step they're in and edit anything that's needed in certain cases. So now that I'm to this screen, it's going to give me the packet summary. So if I look down at my page, I'm going to see all the documents that are in there. They are in a certain order. I will see all the signers that I picked. And towards the bottom here is all the information that's going to translate from MRI into Doc Manager. So if you have these boxes that are grayed out, that indicates that information smoothly transitioned right from MRI into Document Manager. For some communities, there will be the red boxes like this one. This is where we can edit or type in our own information. Sometimes that will be needed. In most cases, you won't have to fill anything in, but just confirm. It's another way to verify everything is looking correct, because this is how your lease documents will look once they're all put together. So just double check your lease begin dates, your lease end dates. Double check that the names are spelled correctly. We mentioned doing this in MRI, but it's another great way to have a second set of eyes looking through these items. If there's a red box, sometimes that indicates also that there's a field that can't translate from MRI into Document Manager. So that'll be few and far between, but there is some information we'll have to get typed into this screen before we process the packet. So I scroll back up to the top. I've checked all my documents to make sure they're set up the way they need to be with the signers that they need. I'm going to go ahead and hit process. At this point, I am now emailing those documents to Julie and Captain Von Trapp. So this processing request will take just a little bit longer. And then I'm going to walk you all through the signing process so that you can see what your residents will experience and what you all will experience. Perfect. So now we can see this in process has been sent. It's been set up. Just another icon that shows up at this point that I want to point out to the right here is a little envelope. As you can see, as I've been hovering over the icons, it indicates to you what that is, but this will resend the emails for the envelope. So maybe you have a resident that declines a lease, and I'll show you where they would do that. For whatever reason, maybe they have questions, they have concerns with how the process is going to work, and they declined the lease signing. You would be indicated to that. Once you answer questions or concerns, if you need to resend, you can simply click that icon. While a packet is in process only, so we see a completed packet here as an example, it does not have that red circle with the X. Only the in process packets do. That indicates a void option. So if for some reason as we're going along we see that a field is not accurate or we need to update information, we can go ahead and void a packet. We would want to make sure that we're communicating that to our residents, as they will get indication that their lease packet has been voided also. So before you do that, make sure you just give them a heads up. Okay, so now I'm going to walk us through the signing process. So bear with me as I get into these emails. All right, so I am in Julie Andrews' email right now. You can see she's received several documents, but the very top one here is the one that we've just received. So when your resident receives this, again, it will have that standardized email message and email subject, and it will say Carmel Partners via DocuSign. we'll go in and hit View Documents. So now we're using DocuSign, or your resident is using DocuSign. The first thing that's going to pop up, so these are things to be walking your residents through and guiding them. The first thing is going to be a consumer disclosure, and this walks them through that they are entering into an electronic signature with us. They will be signing a legal document right here from their own home on their own computer. So really encourage them to read that disclosure so they understand what an e-signature and e-document is, because it is a legal document moving forward. The reason I say tell them about these types of prompts is we're in a world where we get going very quickly. We may just kind of agree and review without even knowing what it is. So please ensure that you're explaining to them what the first screen will indicate to them. This is where we have a decline option, and we also have a finish later option. If either of those happen, we would just see for finish later that they viewed the document but have not signed it yet. If we notice that that's been happening for hours at a time, or it's been a day, that's a good indication to call your resident and see if they have any questions. If they decline, for whatever reason, maybe they read the disclosure, have some questions, and decline the signing, so we would need to resend the packet once we've talked to them. In a perfect world, though, they're going to read the disclosure, agree to do business electronically with us, and review their documents. So what will happen is, how these documents have already been pre-configured in the system, it will tell your residents and you exactly where you need to sign by the Sign Here tabs. You can see to my right, there's a great menu. So anytime there's a circle on a document, this person knows that that's a document they'll need to sign. Once it's signed, a check mark will appear. So let's go through that. The next thing that will happen here is your resident's going to be asked to adopt a signature. So I can change my style. Let's see, let's do this one here. Once I pick my style, I'll adopt and sign. Something to note here, though, is it's not about the signature they choose, it's more about this number at the bottom. So if we get questions or concerns about, well, that's not my signature, how do you make sure that's me? We have this ID number, and that's what we're more concerned about. That's how we know who signed which part of the document. So I'm going to adopt and sign. So as you can see, it places my first signature. So I can say next page, and it brings our residents to the top of every page. And we did that strategically so that it prompts them to read it. But we need you all's help to remind them it's their responsibility to read the lease, and they are more than welcome to ask us if they have any questions while doing so, but please make sure we remind them to read their lease. I will talk about a lease summary at the end of the training today, which is a document that's been created with simple reminders when rent is due, giving a 30 or 60-day notice depending on which region you're located in, that we ask that all of our residents, their guests, and occupants abide by our community policies. So it's a general lease summary reminder. It's an 8.5 by 11 page of paper. We do want that going in the file as well, and then that's just something they can put on a refrigerator or put somewhere to remind them of those main items. So for the purpose of this example, this lease may not look as familiar, but we used a lease from one of our communities, one of our student housing communities. So we're using it for an example purpose. Once you load into your documents, your leases and your addendums will be there. Now that I've initialed, we see that it check marks the circle. So I'm being a good resident, right? And I'm reading my lease document. I'm a fast reader. Here's an example of an initial that we missed on a document. So this is a great time to talk about if you see that anything's been missed on your documents, to please let the regional project and performance team member that supports your region know so that we can get that corrected as soon as possible. So now I'm getting into addendums. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Just some music to entertain you while I'm signing all these wonderful documents. Okay, so it would appear that I'm done, but only if it says confirm signature am I done. So that tells me I missed something somewhere along the way. So if your resident says it's not letting me go any further, that's indication that somehow along the way an initial or signature was missed. So if you indicate to them, scroll up on their right bar here and they can see if there's a circle that's missed and not checked, that's good indication of which page they missed. So here it is, page 2. At the bottom here, that may be something that's easily missed. So I wanted to provide an example that they cannot continue until all signatures have been completed. So now it's going to say confirm signing. I'll go ahead and do that. Now that our resident has completed signing their document, they're going to be sent an alert from DocuSign to either set up an account so they can view their documents at any time, download the document right now and email it to themselves, or print it. This is another step that we need to remind our residents of because, again, we get going so quickly, we may miss this step. So make sure you let them know to pause at the end, make sure they set up an account right then if that's their preferred method, or email or print the document. We will be able to get their document to them at any time, but it's just good to know there's another option for them. For this case, I'm going to close that out. Close my screen out here. And now Julie's part is done. So now let's go into Captain Von Trapp. What we'll notice as we continue going through each step is that these indications will change. If they don't, sometimes it can take upwards to 5 minutes. So if they don't, you can always refresh to see if this status has changed. In this case, it's been sent to Captain Von Trapp. So let's go into his email as he is ready to sign as well. Clearly, of course, when you have both your residents in the mix, they're signing at the same time, quite possibly. In this case, we're going to do this step by step. So again, there's that consumer disclosure. I'm going to agree to do business electronically and review my documents. So only the pages that each person is assigned to will it show the sign here. So in Captain Von Trapp's case, for this example, he's only asked to sign a couple different forms. So we'll go through, make sure we sign the correct ones, and then we'll move on. So this is the only signature Captain Von Trapp was asked to sign. So we're going to confirm signing. Again, this prompt will come up from DocuSign to set up an account, email it, or print. And now his part is done. we'll go ahead and sign out of Captain Von Trapp's email. And now let's see if we refresh our screen here. Now we see that it's been sent to Jen Smith. So this is a great example of how you can watch what status your packet is in and with which signer. So now as the leasing associate, it's my turn to go in and sign. So let's do that. So if I'm a Carmel leasing associate, of course I will be in Outlook. But for our example purpose, we are going to use Yahoo. So again, I will go ahead and be able to view my documents. There's that consumer disclosure again. I will select my style, adopt and sign. And if I want to get there quicker, if I'm a leasing associate or an authorized manager, I can look to the right again to see those circles that will indicate which pages I need to sign. So these are all set up accurately for you already, with who needs to sign and where. So I will confirm signing. Close that out. I can close that current tab. And now if I refresh my page, it'll show Jen Smith viewed the documents. And in this case, it's taking a little bit longer, but eventually it will say Jenny Bierling sent. So I will get into my email. All right, now that I'm in my email as the authorized manager, it's time to sign. So I agree, review documents. And if you want to go quicker again, you can locate the documents with the circles quickly by scrolling down the right on your screen here. And then we'll indicate the Sign Here tags. And I missed one along the way, so let's see which one it was. There we are. Great. Confirm signing. Once that is done, we have a completed packet. Once that happens, an email will be sent to your residents indicating that the packet's completed. They will receive attached PDFs of the documents signed by everybody, as well as a window that tells them they can view documents. All right. So let's see if I'm able to refresh my page here. And it's asking me to log back in. The screen is tired. Perfect. So we have officially a completed packet. Our number went from 4 to 5. So if we wanted to view that, we could go in here. So that's our home screen. Now let's take a look at this completed certification. So we can see now the signatures and the ID numbers that go with them. We also see they used an IP address. If they used a mobile, so we talked about this in our other video, but if we used a mobile device, it will say using mobile. And there's all our signatures. We see the timestamps of how those documents went. We can also be sneaky and see how long it took them to really read that document. Read, quote unquote, or did they just scroll and sign where they needed to? So that's what a completely filled out certificate of completion looks like. So that's a completed move-in packet. I do want to talk about a couple other scenarios, and we'll set up a renewal packet. I won't go through the signing process again, as that will look identical, but I do want to talk about the renewal process and one more scenario. In the event I need to just send Julie one document. So Julie and Captain Von Trapp need to sign an updated, maybe they didn't originally move in with a pet and now they're adding a pet. So if I need to just sign one document, again, I'll go ahead and find Julie, click on her name, and in this case I'm going to pick a new packet. So for the purpose of my example, we're going to use a parking addendum. They maybe didn't originally have a garage and added one, or a carport if applicable, just depending on your community. So if you just have one document that you're sending, you would exclude every document but that one. So in this case, I'm going to say next. I will enter in my signers again. I can double check this email. I can type in maybe a personalized message in this case. Here's your updated parking addendum to sign. I would click next here. Again, I can review my one addendum on my packet summary page and process. Now, this one document is going to everybody to re-sign, and that will be the new and updated addendum. Wonderful. So now I just want to provide an example to which maybe I want to go ahead and void that document. They changed their mind, which we know it can happen. As long as it's in process, can we void it? Once it's completed, we are not able to void it. So if they decide, you know what, I actually don't want to add that, we can void this packet. It's going to ask us for a reason. It's going to ask, are we sure? I'm going to say yes, and that will void our packet out. And again, the system will update, and eventually instead of in process, it will say voided. So I'm going to go back to our home screen, and now for the final example, I'm going to go ahead and set up a renewal packet. As I mentioned, it's very similar to the move-in packet. I just want to walk through it so everyone feels confident. This is a great opportunity for me to also show if we want to see only the packets attached to Julie and Captain Von Trapp. When we click on her name, we'll see all the packets associated. So if we have a resident ever that wants a copy, this is where we can go. We can go in, search for a resident, find them, and then download those documents. So in this case, again, I'm going to go to a new packet, and this is a great time for it to be a refresher. We've done it once with the move-in, now let's do it with a renewal. If you are all here with me, I would have you walk me through it. So in this case, we're going to go to our drop down and go to a renewal packet instead of a move-in. So we see now there's a lease cover page that indicates renewal next to it. So just like before, we'll make sure everything's included that needs to be. If there's anything we need to exclude, we would do that. And we're going to hit next. I will go ahead and enter these lovely signers again. There's one thing that we can check on this page, which is the email. So we can send a customized email here about the renewal. We're so excited you're staying with us. Send them a great message there. We'll go ahead and hit next. This is our packet summary page. We'll review everything's in the packet that needs to be, that our signers are set up with the right emails. Here's where we can double check that everything's filled in the way it needs to be, or fill it in if applicable. Once we've double checked all that, we will process this packet and it will email out. Can you imagine how little time renewals will take now? So in the event you do have a resident that declines a renewal, we'll be prompted of that again and be able to have a conversation with them. So it doesn't eliminate you all from that process. So there we have it. That is our document management system. As you can see, the process is simple for both our residents as well as us. It's going to save us on so much time and make our paperwork so organized. I really appreciate your time today. If you have any feedback or any questions, please contact your regional project and performance team member that supports your region, and we're happy to help you. If there's anything that's going on technically with the system, please go through our Carmel support team and they'll be glad to assist you.